Have you ever learned an Italian word, felt confident that you remembered it, and then the moment that you actually need it, nothing comes out? You've been taught to remember words with flashcards, vocabulary lists, and sticking post-it notes around the house. But your memory doesn't actually work this way. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how to remember any Italian word using 5 simple science-backed cheat codes so you can actually remember them when you need them. Now, these are the exact same strategies that I use to learn Italian. Now, before we jump into these 5 cheat codes, it's really important to know that how you've been taught to learn up until now has been a lie. This one big mistake is the reason that you forget so easily. First of all, you don't have a bad memory, and your age has absolutely nothing to do with it. Here's what's really happening. Your brain is not built for cramming. When you try to shove 100 new Italian words into your brain all at once, it's like pouring a bucket of water into a tiny espresso cup. It overflows. That's not a personal failure, that's biology. Your memory works in 3 stages. The first step is encoding. Now, this is the moment when we see or hear a brand new Italian word. Our brain takes it in and converts it into a form that the brain can process and store. And this is all based on how it sounds, what it looks like, what it means, and maybe how it connects to something we already know. The second step is storage. Now, the new word lands in our short-term memory, which lasts for about 15 to 30 seconds. It's not very long, is it? And that's all we have, half a minute, and then it's gone. That is, unless we do something to hold on to it. If we repeat it, use it, play with it, our brain moves it into the long-term memory, which is where the permanent storage happens and where words can stick for weeks, months, or even our entire lives. That's because memory is like a muscle. The more that we exercise it, the stronger it gets, and the more firmly it can anchor a word into your mind. The third step is recall. This is when we pull the word out of our brain when we actually need it. So if you're forgetting words, it's because they never made it from your short-term memory into your long-term memory storage. But don't worry, the 5 cheat codes that you're about to learn now is going to fix all of that. So let's start with the first cheat code. Now here's what you might be doing now. You try to memorize vocabulary by repetition. You say the word 10 times, write it out, highlight it, and then 2 days or even 2 hours later, it's gone. That's because your brain didn't remember abstract sounds very well. Words on their own are slippery. There's nothing for your memory to grab onto. If you only repeat a word, you're making your brain work harder than it needs to. Let's say you're trying to memorize the Italian word uccello, which means bird. It sounds like saying, ooh, cello, doesn't it? In which case, you might want to imagine a bird playing a tiny cello strapped to its chest. Or you can take the word la scarpa, the shoe. If we look at its spelling, it's scarpa, right? Well, then you could picture a battered old shoe with a big scar across it, like it's been through some serious adventures. So the first memory cheat code to use is, when you learn a new Italian word, don't just repeat it, picture it. Ask yourself, what does it sound like? What does it remind you of? How can I turn this into a weird mental image? But make it exaggerated too. Make it silly or even emotional. The stranger the image, the easier it is for your brain to store and retrieve it later. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet, which includes a bonus memory cheat code. To get your copy, just click on the link in the description below this video. This next cheat code is super effective because it taps into your brain's strongest memory system. So here's what you might be doing at the moment without even realizing it. You treat vocabulary like a list. List of body parts, of food, or even travel phrases. You read them, you repeat them, and you hope that they stick. But this prevents words from reaching your long-term memory because your brain finds it hard to organize random lists. However, your brain is incredibly good at remembering places. In fact, this next memory cheat code was an accidental discovery in ancient Greece. While the Greek poet Simonides was reciting poetry at a banquet, the palace that he was in collapsed. Not only was Simonides the only survivor, but he actually remembered where every single guest was sitting thanks to his spatial memory. Now, this insight became the foundation of what we now call the memory palace. You see, our brains are naturally very good at remembering places, much better than lists or random words. So how can you use this for Italian? First, choose a familiar location that you can visualize in your mind, like your home or workplace, or the route of your daily walk. Set specific spots or stations within that location, like the front door or the kitchen or the bathroom, and turn each word into an image and place them across those different stations. Let's say you're learning body parts in Italian. Instead of just using a bullet list, let's take a walk through your mental palace, which could be your home. At the front door, there's a giant statue of just a head, una testa, staring at you as you walk in. In the kitchen, you see a long, muscular arm, un braccio, stretching across the kitchen table, trying to grab something. In the bathroom, you have to shake a hand, una mano, that's acting as the faucet handle to turn on the water. And in the living room, the couch has giant wiggly feet, I piedi. In the bedroom, you might look under your bed and see 4 actual human legs, le gambe, holding up the bed. So the next time you're at a pharmacy and you need to remember the word for arm, you just take a quick mental walk through your memory palace to the kitchen table, and there it is, il braccio. So to recap this second memory cheat code, when you're learning a group of related Italian words, store them inside a memory palace. In other words, a place that you already know well. Then mentally walk through your palace regularly. Your brain forgets lists, but it remembers places. Let's move on to the third memory cheat code. Now here's what you might be doing without even realizing. You read a word, understand it, then you maybe repeat it and then move on. It feels productive, but it's passive. When you only review information quietly in your head, your brain doesn't have to work very hard. And if your brain doesn't work hard, it doesn't prioritize storing the information in long-term memory. That's why you recognize words when you see them, but you can't actually produce them when you need them on the spot. Memory strengthens through active use, not passive exposure. So when you teach or explain something to someone else, your brain has to organize the information clearly and make sense of it. So you end up learning it better yourself. Even the Romans knew this. The philosopher Seneca said it perfectly. While we teach, we learn. So how do you do this? Well, you don't need a classroom. Just share what you've learned to a friend over coffee. Say it out loud to yourself in the car or to your dog. The moment you explain something, your brain has to organize it, retrieve it, and articulate it for someone else to be able to understand. That effort is what makes it stick. So memory cheat code number 3 is when you learn something new in Italian, explain it to someone else as soon as possible. You don't need to be advanced. You just need to switch from passive review to active teaching. Because when you teach it, you keep it. Now let's move on to memory cheat code number 4. Now here's what's probably happening in your head. You store Italian words like loose bricks scattered on the ground. La camicia, shirt. I pantaloni, pants. Le scarpe, shoes. La giacca, the jacket. Each word sitting on its own. So when you're speaking Italian, your brain has to search through and separate these disconnected bricks. That's why you pause and why you feel like the word is in your head somewhere, but you can't find it quickly enough. Your memory works best when information is connected, layered, and built on top of itself like a structure, like a tower. So what does this mean for you? Well, instead of memorizing words for clothes separately, you build a getting ready or getting dressed tower. Imagine stacking the words like bricks. At the base of your tower is I pantaloni. On top of that, you add la camicia, button it up and tuck it in. The next layer is le scarpe. And finally at the top, la giacca. Now you don't have 4 random words, you have one complete tower. So when you're speaking and you need the word for jacket, your brain doesn't search through scattered bricks. It looks at the top of the tower and there it is, la giacca. So memory trick number 4 is when you learn new Italian vocabulary, don't leave the words scattered. Stack them into towers, group them by theme, and layer them into a logical order. Visualize how they would build on each other. We do this because our brain retrieves structured information much faster than isolated pieces. Are you enjoying this lesson? Don't let the learning stop here. Make sure you download your free PDF cheat sheet, which includes a bonus memory cheat code. To get your copy, just click on the link in the description below this video. Moving on to memory cheat code number 5. Now this is especially powerful because it improves both your spelling and long-term memory, so that you can speak more confidently and make fewer pauses. Now, we live in a world of tapping and scrolling. So what do? You type vocabulary into a Google Doc, you save screenshots, and you reread your digital notes. Now, it feels efficient, but it's just another form of passive learning. Now, as we learned in memory cheat code number 3, we need to activate the brain. When you type, your fingers move automatically. Your brain doesn't have to slow down or fully process what you're writing. And when you only read words on a screen, your brain recognizes them, but doesn't deeply encode them. That's why you can look at a word and think, oh yeah, I know that. But when you actually need to spell it or say it, you hesitate. Now, typing is a lot faster, of course, but memory needs depth, not speed. So let's say you learn the Italian word l'aeroporto for airport. If you just type it into a Google Doc, your brain barely engages with it. Maybe you copy and paste it, which is even worse. But if you physically write down the word l'aeroporto in a notebook, you feel the letters forming. You notice the apostrophe. You see the AE combination at the start. Or even better, you even draw a little plane next to it. By doing all of these things, your vision, your hand movement, and your thinking are all working together. Let's say that you're firing on all cylinders. So when you use a pen, multiple systems in your brain activate all at once, and this is great news. That deeper processing is what makes the word stick. So memory cheat code number 5 is when you learn a new Italian word, write it down by hand. Don't type it or just read it, but physically write it down. Grab a pen and paper. Doing this forces your brain to slow down so it can encode the word, meaning it remembers it much longer. Now, even though you know these 5 memory cheat codes, which are incredibly powerful, but none of it really matters if you can't understand when an Italian speaks to you at full speed. So make sure you watch this video here where I reveal exactly how to understand fast spoken Italian so you can follow any conversation without freezing.